Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Truth Bombs. Once again, hope you're having a great weekend. I'm joined by Lauren Freeman Roth. We're both former TV people, so today we are going to analyze the news like we always do. And today we have an update on the death of a powerful Clinton associate. There have been many powerful Clinton associates who've mysteriously died. Well, the latest one is Dana Hyde. Tragic story of her death. She was only 55. But the NTSB research investigated over the month of March what happened, and they've come out with new details. She died, initially, reports where she died of airplane turbulence. Now the word is, oh, it wasn't turbulence after all.
Okay.
But it's a pretty unique story. So let's look at the New York Times article. It says, jet shook killing ex-White House aide after pilots shut off key system, report says. Dana Hyde sustained fatal injuries during the flight in New England after pilots turned off a switch that controls a stabilizer function in the aircraft, a preliminary report said. A business jet carrying a former White House official this month pitched up and down in mid-air, causing her death after pilots turned off a system that stabilizes the plane, the National Transportation Safety Board said in a preliminary report. Now, that's the federal agency that investigates all aircraft crashes. We've covered them extensively
Over the years. Yes.
Right. But this story is just as unbelievable as the original one, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more why. Before we jump fully into it, shout out to the sponsor of my coverage. The second largest and third largest bank runs in history happened just this month, you guys. The government is taking steps to guarantee all deposits. That means more money printing. Thousands have approached Noble Gold Investments to secure their wealth with gold. Gold is the most stable asset outside of government control. Hurry, go to noblegoldinvestments.com to secure your wealth and get a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin if you qualify. That is ivoryheckergold.com, link in my description. Great time to invest in precious metals when banks are failing at a rate unheard of. I mean, second and third largest bank failures. Okay, so let's check the comments section. Thank you guys for tuning in live. I know that you guys have a lot of questions about Dana Hyde's death as well. It was really crazy. She was riding with her husband and son. They were the only 3 passengers, according to the original reports.
And they weren't injured.
Right. Her husband and son had no injuries. Neither did the pilots. So the fact that she is the only one injured and her injuries are so bad they'd kill her raised questions. Then when you look at turbulence death data, not a single turbulence death in over a decade.
Wow.
As reported by NPR, citing the FAA. And turbulence injuries, only 30 in over a decade. So anything related to turbulence was remarkably rare. And it's just interesting now the story totally changes.
Okay.
They're saying it's not turbulence.
So it was the key system. But why would the pilots turn that off?
Right.
The stability
Who
system
did someone tell them to? What's going on? These pilots actually worked for her husband. So
Okay.
I talked about initially, I have a lot of questions about Dana Hyde's husband. If he's innocent, I hate to bring this up because he's suffering. He lost his wife. But it's just very bizarre that some pilots who worked for her husband would
turn
do
off
something that
system.
causes the plane to its nose to go like this. And why would it be so easy for an airplane to make an airplane do that? You know, It's a private jet owned by her husband's company. So it says here that shortly after the scare, they had a scare when they turned off this switch and the plane went like this. Shortly after the scare, New York Times reports the crew members were told by a passenger that the former White House official Dana Hyde, 55, of Cabin John, Maryland, had been injured. Ms. Hyde, who was a senior advisor at the State Department under President Barack Obama, pretty big job, served as counsel on the 9/11 Commission, was taken to a hospital after the plane landed. She died in the hospital from her injuries, authorities said. So really quite bizarre. The people on board the plane, it was a Bombardier Challenger 300, were subjected to forces about 4 times the pull of gravity, according to the federal report.
It's like 4 Gs.
That's pretty violent, and it's just I'm just wondering how her husband and son had no scratches. Maybe they were seat belted in, and she wasn't. Maybe she's coming back from the bathroom. I don't know. People just think this is really strange, given she was an Obama State Department official. She had a plethora of huge important jobs, and people are just wondering why this keeps happening to Clinton associates. There's dozens of Clinton associates. There's bizarre deaths. So last year, it says the Federal Aviation Administration issued a directive to pilots flying the Bombardier Challenger 300 that instructed them to conduct extra safety tests before flights. The directive was prompted by several reports that the horizontal stabilizer caused the nose of the plane to tilt down when pilots tried to make the plane climb, according to a rule from the FAA in June of last year.
Okay.
So there could be something to this. I don't know. Are you guys buying it in the comment section? Captain Not Likely says both pilots were relatively low time in type.
Okay.
New to the aircraft. They tried to take off with the pilot what's that?
The pilot tube cover on one side and needed to reset the flight computers. They got a slew of error messages after they took off again anyway. Okay.
So, we're hearing this new story, and maybe that is, it was just a freak accident. People just think it's strange that freak accidents keep happening to Clinton associates. But like I said, my biggest suspect is not Hillary Clinton. It's actually her husband, whose name is Jonathan Chambers. I'm just wondering, it was his plane and his employees that caused this. So, but it says here, Ms. Hyde's husband, Jonathan Chambers, said in a statement that they and their younger son had been flying home that day after visiting schools in New England. He was looking at colleges when the plane, quote, suddenly convulsed in a manner that violently threw the 3 of us. Those are her husband's words. It convulsed. Her husband said Dana was the best person I ever knew. She never forgot her small town Eastern Oregonian roots. Mrs. Hyde was a special assistant to the Deputy Attorney General in the Clinton administration. According to Columbia University, she later served as Associate Director of the Office of Management and Budget during the Obama administration. She's also established the African Leadership University and worked at the Jerusalem Venture Partners, a venture capital firm. That's a real resume, her husband said. He said that she was wonderful to their boys. They had 2 sons. So, yeah, she has a very big resume, powerful positions, and a lot of conspiracy theories swirling, but it's interesting to note now that it wasn't turbulence after all.
So I guess it's basically pilot error then, right? That they didn't have the system on that they were supposed to.
Well, they purposely flipped a switch to jack up the stabilization. So I think that's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird. Because they're on the plane too, right? They don't want to be like flying through the air.
Yeah,
and
so
have you ever flown one of those small planes?
Well, this isn't a small plane. It was a pretty big jet. So
I like the big, huge ones.
So the bigger, the better. Please.
Yeah, I just feel like they feel flimsy when you're in those small ones.
So actually, if you look at the thumbnail of this video we're in, it is that plane. So this is our thumbnail. She hasn't seen our thumbnail yet. That's the plane. It's pretty big.
Oh, it's
a
big.
Private jet. It's pretty big. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a big one. I didn't realize that's huge.
So it shouldn't just be doing crazy things like that. Okay, so we got a super chat. Thank you, Kevin. They're back. That's right. It's good to have Lauren Freeman back. She came on about a month ago.
Yeah, I think it's been a little longer. Yeah.
To talk about your departure from corporate news. And so
I've been gone like 3-4 months now. I have to sit down and
After
calculate
like
it out.
a long
After
career.
25 years in TV news.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll get deeper into Lauren's story. Get this, you guys, she quit TV news and she will not let her sons watch the corporate news now.
Well, we would never let them watch it even when I was on. They were not under any circumstances allowed to watch the news ever. Now, if the only exceptions were storm coverage, okay, they could watch, because sometimes you'd be at the station for like a week for storm coverage. We would let them watch that. Or some type of breaking news. It was like storm related or something. There's a flood or whatever. But that was it. They were never, ever allowed. So I think it's like super cool that I'm on YouTube now.
Because they understand YouTube.
Because kids that age love YouTube. Like TV, they're like, nah. But they understand YouTube.
So what was the main reason you didn't want them to watch TV news?
It's just constant violence. I mean, there's so many violent stories. I mean, the old adage, yeah, if it bleeds, it leads.
I was the crime reporter, you guys.
So it's just constant crime. We didn't feel like it was always an accurate representation of our society, frankly, and it was just negative. It's just a negative. There are very few uplifting stories anymore in television news. I mean, that stopped about 5 years ago. Yeah. In my opinion.
It gets so negative. And every day I think like, how can I make this more positive? But like, I feel like a duty to cover the corruption. You got like, guys, this corruption is happening in our government, and so you can do something about it. But like covering corruption every day can kind of drain you. So.
Totally.
And then as a news viewer, like consuming corruption every day is like overwhelming too. So it's like, how do you balance that?
I know, and it's why, I mean, honestly, I like ran from news when I left. I was like, I want no part of it anymore. So
now she does like health and beauty updates on her YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. So yours is like very positive.
Very positive because I mean, there's enough negativity in the world. I'm not going to add to that. Personally.
I'm craving to like blend in some more like serious positivity to my like corruption highlights, because it's just like, I just feel like me and the viewers need that.
Well, and I also feel like truth has always resonated with us, right? That's why we got into what we did.
Yeah.
You can laugh there. Yeah, I know. TV news, truth.
But it's true. Like most people who got into it, we really thought it was a sacred job.
Totally. And I think at one time, maybe it was more truthful and more of a sacred job. But either way, that resonated with us from a young age. And that's why we gravitated towards that industry. But I think there are more than one ways to truth. And I think when you are really conscientious about what you put in your head and your thoughts and your body and what you're putting on your body, in other words, like trying to stay away from chemicals and eating real food and listening and being a part of positive things in life and in society, that's also a route. And excuse me. Yeah, she's the one having alcohol and I'm the one having water, and I spill.
Is this water? It's fine. You're cleaning my couch.
We clean up on aisle 2. Anyway, that's one way. I feel like I'm like hopefully encouraging people towards truth. It's different mechanism, I guess. Right?
You're saying you can find truth through a more holistic lifestyle?
I feel like truth resonates with you when you are more of a pure vessel. Yes.
I love that.
I do.
Okay, we have another super chat.
Okay.
Matthew says, thank you, Ivory and Lauren, for stepping up. Thanks for the support, Matthew. We appreciate that. I love that so much that truth resonates more when you like purify.
Yes. Well, I mean, think about
your life.
Because so much of what we have in our society, and again, health and wellness and food is certainly my passion. That's what you'll find mainly on my channel. But so much of our food today isn't food, right? 75% of the American diet today is ultra-processed food. Wow. Ultra-processed food isn't food. It's not food. So, I mean, we're putting information in our body, which our body cannot translate. So when you start putting in, I mean, think about if you went 100% real food, no processed food. That's 100% true, pure information that your body's able to process and understand. And it goes, oh, B vitamins, I know what to do with those. Vitamin C, I know what to do with that.
Wow.
Versus some weird chemical that they've come up with in a lab because it can sit on a shelf for 2 years. You know, when my kids go like to the store and they're like, oh, I really want this, whatever. And I'm like, that was made when you were 3. Seriously.
Yeah. It's horrifying how fake and toxic the ingredients in our food are.
Yes.
And, you know, I've read that actually your diet contributes a lot to like your mental health, actually. What you're eating
question
causes your brain to think clearly or to be packed with anxiety.
Totally. I mean, if you're vitamin and nutrient deficient, I mean, you can go Google what those things cause. I mean, everything from, you know, there are lots of things linked to those health-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just, that's why it's so important. And if you are trying to stick with a more pure lifestyle, a more pure diet, you're also watching what you watch on TV, making sure that's positive, uplifting, what you want in your life. Same thing with the music you listen to. It all factors into how you feel, how you behave, and what you attract in your life.
I totally believe that. Absolutely. I love that. Okay, well, we gotta go back to the news rundown, though, and unfortunately look at it in a positive light. So the big update this week, we actually have a video clip. Trump, our former president, has been indicted. We all know this by now. He was indicted yesterday. Well, we're finding out today that it's more than 30 counts.
Wow.
Yeah, that you know, and all of this is coming from anonymous sources, but NPR reports, that CNN reports former President Donald Trump faces more than 30 counts related to business fraud in a Thursday indictment from a Manhattan grand jury, according to sources. So nobody's naming their sources. This entire story on Trump is anonymous sources. And we don't know what the charges actually are. We've heard it's related to Stormy Daniels and his business. And so now the brand new update from Newsmax just reported that Trump is set to be arraigned next Tuesday at 2:15 Eastern, I guess it is. Okay. So our former president may get handcuffed. Now, another anonymous source said that Trump's going to demand handcuffs. But
these are all anonymous sources.
The entire thing's anonymous sources.
That's my concern with the media. I mean,
right.
You have to have someone who's going to go on the record.
Right. I know, right? It's like, you know, because the day before this news broke, anonymous sources were saying that the grand jury was going to take a month-long hiatus before fully looking at evidence. Okay. Then 24 hours later, never mind, they're not on hiatus. They've looked at the evidence and they've indicted him. So, but all these sources are anonymous and we don't actually have the indictment. The anonymous source said it's under seal.
Why? Are indictments typically under seal? Why is this one under seal?
You know, sometimes if the person is a flight risk, they can put it under seal.
Okay.
But, you know, there's various reasons. You know, Trump's the raid on Trump's house was under seal because they wanted it to be a sneak attack. Mm-hmm. But, you know, so sometimes indictments are under seal. But, like, we're taking everyone's word for it. We're taking the media's word for it, that they do have a real source who's saying that there's a real indictment, but it's under seal. So we'll see what happens, but Trump is reacting, and we're going to show Trump's reaction to this. First, The View today reacted to Trump with basically a standing ovation. They're really excited for him to be indicted. Here it is.
The twice impeached, one term, once indicted, but who's counting? Former president is reportedly facing more than 30, count them, criminal charges. So, how do we feel about this unprecedented moment in American history?
I called it.
Did you? We feel good. Begging for applause.
I said he would be held criminally responsible because no one is above the law. He would be at the very least charged. He not only has the New York case, he has the Georgia case, he has the Department of Justice cases. There are 2 or 3 of them there. I mean, you can't commit so many crimes and think that you are above the law, even if you are the president.
So it really is a celebration of the law.
It's a celebration of the law and how it applies to all of us.
So never in history has a former president who's now running for office been indicted, but it's a celebration of the law.
Well, never in our history, you know. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. Like, you go read, right, Greek dramas, and you study Greek, everything that was going on in Greece and Rome and whatever. It's all the same. It's all the same today.
As soon as the indictment happened, Madison Cawthorn, who just got booted out of Congress in an Operation Chaos, he immediately took to Instagram and said, this exactly follows the fall of Rome. What's happening to the USA right now is the fall of Rome.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we live in modern day Rome. I mean, when you go back and study what Rome was like, I'm not saying exactly. They were a little more violent day to day than we are, but I mean, it's still, there's a lot of similarities.
Our cities are getting increasingly criminal, so I don't know. Our crime rate might be going up to the violence of Rome.
Well, let's hope not, right?
Okay, so Trump is reacting. Let's see what he tweeted. This is what he tweeted last night in reaction to his indictment. Quote, "They only brought this fake, corrupt, and disgraceful charge against me because I stand with the American people and they know that I cannot get a fair trial in New York." So that's why they picked New York. By the way, these are not tweets. He doesn't tweet anymore. This is Truth Social, his app. So, and then this morning, look at this. It was almost 2 a.m. our time. So that's 3 a.m. his time that Trump tweeted or truthed, "Where's Hunter?" He's basically making the point that Hunter has committed obvious crimes as far as a lot of people can tell looking at the evidence that came from Hunter's laptop, Hunter Biden, and yet nobody's coming after Hunter. They're coming after Trump for something he's saying has already been debunked. And so then just a few hours ago today, Trump did this truth as well. He said, quote, "The judge, quote, assigned to my witch hunt is a case that has never been charged before. He hates me." He's saying this is a case that people have known about, yet he's never faced charges for it. But now that he has charges, he also has a judge that hates him. That judge is Juan Manuel Marchin, who he was handpicked by Bragg and the prosecutors, and is the same person who railroaded my 75-year-old former CFO, Alan Weisselberg, to take a plea deal, plead guilty, even if you're not, 90 days, fight us in court, 10 years, life in jail. He strong-armed Alan, which a judge is not allowed to do, and treated my company, which didn't plead, viciously, appealing. So he's saying, yeah, he gave a little history of that judge that's going to handle his case now, saying the way that the judge treated Trump's people previously.
And so is he saying he's going to appeal? Because there at the end he said appealing.
So I don't know if Trump is saying he's already going to appeal whatever decision, or if he's making sarcasm about the judge being an appealing guy. I don't know what he meant by that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But okay, Trump also today truthed this old podcast video of Alvin Bragg, who is the district attorney in Manhattan, who is charging Trump. Alvin Bragg went on a podcast before he became district attorney. He was already doing a witch hunt against Trump at that. I mean, he was saying that he's basically campaigning to take down Trump, and that anyone who's seen this video clip we're about to play, the person who tweeted this, which Trump actually retweeted it, they said that this guy should be recused from prosecuting Trump based on what he says in this podcast. Here it is.
Are they going to convict Donald Trump?
I'm the candidate in the race who has the experience with Donald Trump. I was the chief deputy in the attorney general's office. We sued the Trump administration over 100 times. for the Muslim travel ban, for family separation at the border, for shenanigans with the census. So I know how to litigate with him. I also led the team that did the Trump Foundation case. So I'm ready to go wherever the facts take me and to inherit that case. And I think, it'd be hard to argue with the fact that that'd be the most important, most high profile case. And I've seen him up front and seen the lawlessness that he can do.
And you believe it should happen?
I believe we have to hold him accountable. So yeah, you are right. We got two standards of justice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein. Being a rich old white man has allowed you to evade accountability in Manhattan. That includes Trump and his children. So I've seen a pattern of lawlessness over 20 years. And so I'm inclined to believe all I see in the public domain and know that and believe that there's a path forward there to make a case.
So,
Wow.
yeah, that's the district attorney that's currently planning to, arrest Trump or arraign him on Tuesday. And so that was him speaking before even taking office as district attorney. He already had this planned out without seeing the evidence. He hadn't even seen the evidence, which everyone's, anonymous sources are saying it's related to Stormy Daniels. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't even DA yet. He was campaigning and he was already planning on this. So it's just,
that was his main campaign.
That was his main campaign, JJ said. So, it's like, is this legit? A lot of people are saying, the New York Times yesterday said, it doesn't look like there's going to be enough evidence to convict him. But they can
That's what their anonymous sources are saying?
That's what,
because they haven't seen it. It's all an anonymous source.
Everything's anonymous.
But that's
people. This Stormy Daniels allegations have been ongoing, and nobody could pin Trump down with this previously. So why now? So I think that's why even the New York Times is saying it. They probably won't convict him on this, but they'll arraign him. They'll get his mugshot, put him through hell. Hopefully damage his campaign that, it's probably what this is all about. Who knows? Damage his campaign for 2024. But a lot of people are speculating this might actually kind of bolster the support. More people will gravitate towards him and say, I really better get out to the polls because Trump needs me. There's an attack against him. So this, there's debate as to whether this will help or hurt Trump.
I don't know. I mean, time will tell.
Yeah. Time will tell whether any of these anonymous sources are real, right?
I mean, does everyone have the same anonymous source? Is like the same anonymous source going to different news agencies?
No, yesterday I was looking at it and New York Times had five people close to the matter. CNN had 3 people close to the matter. I was like, okay. Okay, Nick says, what they mean is no common person is above the law, but all powerful people are. So Trump is one of us. So there you go. This reminds the American people that Trump's one of us. Someone in my comment section is like, some guy in my comment section was like, my N-word Trump, he's finally getting his street cred. Okay. I'm like, oh, he's like, this black guy is really going to vote for Trump now. Anyway, so then Trump also retweeted something that Ted Cruz said today. Ted Cruz talked about this Trump indictment in his podcast today. Here's what Ted said.
It is the culmination we have seen for 6 long years. The Democrats weaponizing our law enforcement system, weaponizing the Department of Justice, weaponizing the FBI, weaponizing the CIA, weaponizing our district attorney offices, and using them to target and persecute their enemies. When that happens, all of us are less safe. When that happens, liberty is in jeopardy, not just for Donald J. Trump, for all of us. Look, there are banana republics, there are dictatorships across the world where law is used. If you cross the regime, you get prosecuted. The United States is supposed to be different. I am angry and I'm heartbroken at the same time because what we're seeing is absolute garbage.
A lot of people feel this is politically motivated.
You think? I mean, what?
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
This would be unprecedented for, a former and currently running president to,
Well, and it'll be interesting to see if the bulk of the Republican Party supports him and stands by him or wants to go with a different candidate or how that all plays out as well.
I know there's a lot of controversy involving DeSantis right now. Ron DeSantis in Florida, and President Trump lives in Florida.
Mhm.
So as soon as this news broke yesterday, Ron DeSantis said that he tweeted out that he would not comply with any extradition request if New York asked DeSantis to extradite Trump for arrest. DeSantis would say good luck. And so they'd have to get a federal agency, I guess, to extradite Trump.
Okay.
So that's Ron DeSantis basically putting his support behind Trump, saying this is a bogus, politically motivated witch hunt. I'm backing Trump. Amid all this division between DeSantis and Trump, DeSantis is saying, I've got your back, Trump. And some people, it's just interesting what's been going on with DeSantis because a lot of people on the right have been trash talking him. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about Ron DeSantis being like a fake Republican or something. And so support has been rallying around Trump instead. But from what I can see in his policies in Florida, he's very Republican. And I don't buy whatever these influencers are on the right are saying against DeSantis. It's just looking at what he's actually done in Florida. He's done very Republican things. And nevertheless, rumors that DeSantis is going to run for president, Trump has been attacking DeSantis verbally a lot.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
So it's interesting to see. DeSantis hasn't really participated in Trump's attacks. Instead, he's actually throwing his support behind Trump, saying, I'm not going to comply with an extradition. And now some people are saying, look, DeSantis, get out of your little shadow campaign for president and just get behind Trump fully. How about that? Some people are like, why not Trump and DeSantis run as president and vice president?
I've seen that. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, that would be a better way to win against the Democrats because they're both quite popular. So
The most beautiful first ladies ever, right?
Oh,
Because Casey DeSantis.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Gorgeous, lovely person. I used to work with her in Jacksonville, Florida.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah, DeSantis is married to a TV news girl.
yeah, that's right. That's right. And she was a good one too. Very good one. Yeah.
Wow.
She's very talented in her own
love
right.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing we were going to discuss, well, let's see the comment section. I just want to see your guys' thoughts on Trump versus DeSantis, if you guys had anything to say. There you go. What did this person, you said that DeSantis is not a fake Republican, just not a new wave MAGA wave Republican.
Okay.
All I can tell is like, just Florida's been doing pretty freaking great. Florida's been doing great. People had more individual liberties during the pandemic in Florida than places across America, including Texas, and COVID rates were lower. So in Florida with more individual liberties. So something's working in Florida. So that's my thoughts on DeSantis. I don't know about this. Is he old wave or new wave Republican? Like, I don't understand all that. And I don't understand the conspiracy theories. But anyway, I want to get to the next topic, which you had sent me the screenshot. We have it to put on the screen. And you said maybe we can help people differentiate between opinion and facts. So let's look at, this is the KPRC,
okay.
Tucker amplifies lies.
Okay. So, yes, a friend sent me this headline a while back. And they were concerned because they felt like it was an opinion. And I think that people have to be very weary of when you see an opinion in a headline, or unless it's sourced, right?
Right.
You can say Ivory says whatever in a headline. That's fine. But if it's just an opinion standing alone in a headline, just know it's an opinion standing alone in a headline.
Okay, so I looked this article up, which was actually published on your former outlet, KPRC, and sure enough, it's from the Associated Press. And it's interesting, the last time that you came on my podcast, we talked about, where do our scripts come from? The scripts we read in our teleprompter as TV people. A lot of them come from the Associated Press.
Yes.
Not only TV teleprompters have Associated Press scripts, but web stories like the one we just put on the screen, it was entirely written by the Associated Press, but it looks like KPRC local news in Houston covered it, which is, you guys were NBC?
NBC.
NBC.
Yeah, but KPRC is NBC. Well, that's not uncommon in television news to take an AP story, and sometimes it goes straight through and it's almost exactly like it was written by AP, and sometimes it's modified a little or changed or condensed or what have you. But that's where local TV stations get their national news. So you just have to know that when you're reading a national news story.
I was saying, if anyone wanted to infiltrate the national narrative or affect it, they should infiltrate the Associated Press, because they send their reports get syndicated to almost every outlet in the entire nation, whether it's a newspaper or a TV station or the radio. That's very true. They all just recite the Associated Press like it's the Bible across the nation in every little corner, big, national TV or little tiny local stations. And so here we have an example where this is, it's not listed as an opinion piece. Tucker Carlson amplifies January 6th lies with GOP provided video. And I was just like, you were saying this is an example of when it's hard to decipher fact from opinion, which I don't talk about that a lot, because I feel like, well, anyone with a brain surely can, you can tell when someone's stating their opinion versus this is factual information. But you have such a point. I read this article and I was like, this is such a blurred line. And they write it so cleverly where it's it feels like facts, but really you're actually being indoctrinated with someone's personal opinions, which I do news analysis now on my YouTube, which is here's the news and here's my analysis of it, which is my opinion. And it helps. Sure. It helps people decipher, and people know these are my thoughts on this, and they can either agree or disagree with me, and I think that's healthy in people. And actually in journalism school, we learned about news analysis. It is a part of journalism. But the way this one is written is just it's so
well, you just have to, there are some things over the years that the media has started to do that I think you just have to be weary of as a consumer of news. Like when they say, this used to be my biggest pet peeve, when a script would say, experts say.
Yeah, who are these freaking
Who
experts?
are they? Right. When they're political experts say, okay, where are they? Can I call them? No. And then have you ever known all experts in one field to agree on anything?
Right.
We're media experts, and I can guarantee you if we went out to cover a story, you would cover it your way and I would cover it mine.
100%,
we're both experts.
Yeah.
But I doubt we agree on the exact mechanics of covering a story, is my point. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so the media has gotten in this habit of and maybe it's lazy. I don't know.
It can lead to, a lazy news writer can use that cheat style of, I'm just going to throw in my opinion because I think I heard it somewhere because an expert said it, and then finish with experts say.
Right.
And so
it's if you're specific and say, experts that we talked to today at the Harvard School of Business said, great.
Right.
Better yet, put their name.
Right.
Professor of business at Harvard said. But just that like blanket statement, because not all experts agree on things, or they'll say sometimes like experts agree.
Right.
Well, I don't know like any experts in one field that agree on everything.
Right, exactly. So I just want to read a little bit of this article you sent me.
I didn't even read the article, honestly.
The article reads exactly how the headline
Okay.
reads. It's so blurred. Okay, so this is the Associated Press syndicated across the nation. NBC picked it up, and here's what it says.
Okay.
Quote, handed some 41,000 hours of January 6th security footage, Fox News' Tucker Carlson has launched an impassioned new effort to explain away the deadly Capitol attack linked to the Republican Party linking the Republican Party ever more closely to pro-Trump conspiracy theories about the 2021 riot. So Tucker is explaining away. So we saw the footage that Tucker released. I mean, it is what it is. Our eyes are seeing it. And they're making the opinion that he's explaining away a deadly attack. Now, first of all, the only person who died, was Ashley Babbitt. There was a woman who she was a Trump supporter. She was protesting, and the word was that she had a drug overdose while she was there, but it's actually convoluted. It may not have been a drug overdose. It may, but bottom line, that's two people who were Trump supporters who died. Now, the media narrative is that the Trump supporters were killing officers. That's fake. That's completely fake. So it's really was not, Ashley Babbitt was the one who died due to an alleged officer shooting her. We have a super chat here from Kevin. Oh, we have this real quick. Perry County Sheriff Scott Montgomery said Middleton was discovered on the property hanging from a tree with a gunshot blast to his chest. Perry, yeah. So this was in Arkansas. This was the other Clinton associate, the most recent. So Clinton associates keep dying in strange ways. This is the most recent one. Really bizarre.
Recently?
Yeah, this was in the past few months, I believe. And a lot of eyes on this. Gunshot wound and hanging, and he allegedly committed suicide. He was closely tied to the Clintons. And my friends at Next News Network, who I fill in on their channel, huge channel, over 2 million subscribers to Next News Network on YouTube, they got demonetized for covering that case, for digging into the Clinton associate death in Arkansas. So guys, pray for my channel because I'm talking about another Clinton associate death. Oh my God. But huge channel, demonetized. Wow. And now they're on the hairy edge of like deletion. So they're really scared. This one? Okay, you said that article is intentionally lacking media literacy. Well, they're obviously interjecting this article about Tucker Carlson releasing the January 6th footage, obviously interjecting their own opinions by saying this is an impassioned new effort to explain away the deadly attack, which his footage links.
Which if it was
links the
op-ed,
Republicans, you're right. He's saying that this is the AP saying that Tucker releasing the footage links the Republican Party even closer to Trump's conspiracy theories. So this opening line of this article is kind of a dare to the Republican Party to say, you guys better step away from this, step away from this footage. Otherwise, you're a Trump conspiracy theorist. Do you as Republicans really want to be linked to Trump? That's the energy of this first line. That's just the first line, you guys. Okay, keeps going. But no, I need to shout out this super chat. Did we already do this one? Lauren looks like the mom from Malcolm in the Middle.
I don't think that's a good thing, but okay.
Oh my God. Okay, Kevin. All right, so the second line. The conservative commentator aired a first installment to millions of viewers on his primetime show Monday, working to bend perceptions of the violent, grueling siege that played out for the world to see into a narrative favorable to Donald Trump. A small additional bit was shown Tuesday amid calls from critics to stop. So calls from critics, the left wanted Tucker to stop airing this footage, but again, this is the second line. Working to bend perceptions. That's an opinion. The writer of this article has an opinion that the actual footage of what happened is an effort by Tucker to bend perceptions about what actually played out. That Tucker is trying to make the narrative more favorable to Trump. Now, other articles have come out showing text messages that Tucker actually hated Trump, that this is in association with the Fox News lawsuit, a machine company related to elections that we can't talk about here on YouTube, sued Fox News. And the latest documentation in that lawsuit apparently shows a text message from Tucker that he was fed up with Trump. Leading up to January 6th, he was like, we're almost done with Trump.
Okay.
Now this AP guy is saying, no, Tucker in releasing this footage is trying to bend perceptions towards Trump. So it's clearly, it's an opinion, but you see how it's written in a way that seems like, no, this is the fact. And so it's just like really, it's a convoluted little way to write an article. But, he released surveillance video from inside the Capitol showing Jacob Chansley, the guy with the horns on his head, being escorted through the Capitol. Police leisurely following him. At one point, police do try to open a door for him. At no point, all these clips, no point are they trying to arrest him or say, get him out of the Capitol. Yeah. At no point is there any violence from him. Like, to this day, not a shred of evidence of violence from this guy. Yet he was the face of the Capitol violence. And so Tucker releasing this was like, oh my God, what are you doing, Tucker? Stop releasing this, as if shedding more light is a bad thing in journalism. How has that ever been a bad thing? Like, well, you're only showing the good parts. Okay, where are the bad parts of Jacob Chansley? Because I scoured for them. Like, I was just like, what's the truth? I remember summer of 2021. I hadn't paid attention to his case at all. Didn't care. That's in DC. That's not in Houston. And it came across my feed that he had just, there was some big update in his charges. And I was like, looking at how he was being treated in the media. Oh, he must have really done something. Let me look up what he did. I was trying to find footage of him attacking someone. There was nothing. There wasn't a shred of any evidence.
You went through and watched the video?
Yeah, I scoured I looked at all the mainstream coverage and alternative cover, whatever I could find. There was nothing. And when I tweeted I can't find anything that this guy did wrong. People started tweeting me video of him actually collabing with police, calling for peace in the Capitol. I was like, this is unbelievable. He's helping keep the situation calm in the Capitol, and he's the big bad guy now. I post this video of Jacob Chansley to Instagram. It immediately gets deleted by Instagram. Instagram had an algorithm against him where their bots could instantly delete it. They could detect when his video is uploaded and delete this particular video of him calling for peace. It was so despicable. I was like, why would Instagram want to hide the fact that this guy standing next to officers is shouting, we must remain peaceful? So that's there's just so many things in the past few years since the pandemic started that I'm just like, oh, we're in a really dirty time. This is a dirty time in the information warfare. the media, and the media is participating in it. Instagram's a media platform, but nobody in the mainstream media has the balls to stand up and say, no, there's actually this footage of him. This is the only shred of evidence for or against what he did. He's calling for peace, and there's nothing of him being violent. So it was just, I couldn't believe, that was in my investigation back in 2021. So then I dug further in and did a whole report. I interviewed his mom and his friends and everything. But Tucker's coverage this past month just reiterated what I had already found. And it's interesting that there were calls to shut down releasing the footage. Oh, so the update is that he was just released early from prison. Oddly enough, after Tucker released that footage, he ends up getting released to a halfway house. Like, he still has to serve some time, but he's not in prison. He's not in a federal prison just shortly after that footage. So that's an interesting update for Jacob Chansley, the guy with the horns. Anyway, the whole article on Tucker goes on and on like that. It's very interesting to see. I see exactly what you were saying as far as the blurred lines between
an opinion and a headline. Yeah. And look, there's constant opinion in stories, right? But you source it.
Yeah.
You source it.
Exactly. And opinion news is very popular these days because people want, they want, a lot of people don't have time to read through everything that's going on in the world and say, okay, how does this apply to me? So they want to hear from a like-minded person who says, this is how I'm making sense of all this. So people want to hear that. But it's interesting when the lines really get blurred.
Well, and it's like if people read a story and it's skewed towards their opinion, they're okay with it.
Yeah.
But if it's skewed against their opinion, then they're like, whereas I think everyone should prefer and want a neutral media to where every story is 50-50, either side, where facts are attributed, where we aren't basing all of our coverage on anonymous sources.
I know, right? Totally.
Right.
And with what we're doing today, I like to share, okay, this is how the ladies of The View cheered for Trump, but here's how Ted Cruz said, this is horrible.
Yeah,
I like to
sides.
show both sides and then give my take. And so we actually, in journalism school at Syracuse, we learned about opinion journalism and the benefits of it. And when real opinion journalism is when the news analysts, their primary loyalty is still towards the truth and towards the citizens. Their loyalty is to the citizens' best interests, which is individual liberty. And so they're going to interpret everything in that way. Whereas if your primary loyalty is towards the Republican Party or the Democrat Party, then as an analyst, you're more likely to hide important truths that don't support something that makes Republicans look good or makes Democrats look good. So opinion journalism can be helpful, but you have to, it's just, everyone has to be like, is this opinion journalist legit, or are they more loyal to a certain party or a certain agenda, rather than just, no, I'm trying to get at the truth, guys. Look at everything, give you my take on the truth. So that's the difference that Syracuse taught when it came to news analysts and opinion journalism. So with that being said, the other big news that's happening, so there's a Trans Day of Vengeance. This is literally what it's called. Trans Day of Vengeance is happening tomorrow outside the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. So transgender people are taking a stand for themselves. They have felt under attack by conservatives, which I totally agree. Conservatives have been going crazy against transgender people. Like, dude, not every transgender is a predator. Anyway, they're doing a trans day of vengeance. They said that this was already planned prior to the attack
shooting
in Tennessee. And they were debating whether to do it because there's so much escalating tension. I guess they're gonna do this protest. I don't think it's supposed to be violent, but they're doing that protest tomorrow. So there's a lot going on. Trump gonna be arrested. Trans Day of Vengeance. We just had that shooting. I just interviewed Clay Clark about, I've had him on my show before, but he's like, guys, this is all distraction from the real thing, which is the US dollar, your money, the banks collapsing, and this new agenda towards central bank digital currency. So the FDIC just today said that it's going to be in May, which is about a month from now. They're going to announce how much the big banks have to pay back the FDIC for bailing out these two big banks in early March. Yeah, which was tens of billions of dollars. These were the second and third largest bank runs in U.S. history. And FDIC is like, we bailed you out for now, but banks are going to have to pay us back. So
all the banks.
Right, collectively. What is that going to do to the American people, though? And CNN Money reported, like, it's going to fall back on the American people. We're going to have to foot the bill in the end because the banks will put it off on us. This is just more drama for the entire economic situation. Will there be more bank collapses at that time? There's a lot of questions coming up for May. And so Clay Clark breaks this down like, Clay Clark just like, this is important stuff. This is the stuff I hate to talk about because it can be burdensome, but it's important stuff. Leading up to the central bank digital currency and what would cause, we've heard about implants under our skin. What would make people want to have that? What if that was the only way to pay for things? So Clay Clark breaks all this down with sound bites from top people in all of this industry. So you guys want to check that out. It's going to be up shortly on my Unified channel. So definitely check out Unified, link down in the description, that interview with Clay Clark. Yes, there it is. Unified, link down in my description. Okay, so beyond that, Lauren has got a new YouTube channel as well. And she is covering much more positive things because we really, in these stressful times, we need to like literally be positive and take care of our health more than ever.
Yeah, I think no matter what's going on around you, I mean, you have to take care of your health the best you can. And it's important. It's important for your kids. It's important for your partner, your spouse, whatever, the people who are around you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you're out eating a bunch of junk, you may not be as pleasant to be around.
Totally. Okay, so I came across this article. They looked at an 85-year-long study over numerous generations of Americans to show what's the most important factor for health and longevity. It is not even diet or exercise, you guys. This was a fascinating article to read. Evie magazine, shout out to them. Gosh, they are an amazing new magazine. And turns out, looking at all these people, the number one factor was relationships.
Interesting.
If you have solid relationships in your life, your health is going to be so much better.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
And
yeah.
I love that you got it all. Lauren has the diet, she's got the exercise, and she's got the relationships. You have a beautiful family.
Thank you.
I have a video.
Very
I have a video clip. So now that you're independent, you're blogging about all this health stuff.
Yes.
And so you and your husband actually addressed this on your Instagram, how to have a happy, healthy household. You didn't even know about this study. But
I
this is a key.
didn't.
This is
No.
a key factor for all of your health. Okay, this is Lauren and her husband.
And it takes attention. It doesn't just magically happen, right? Don't you agree?
No, it takes work. You have to have a plan, and the plan has to be spending quality time together. When we get home from work, which is usually around 5, sometimes 6, we always have dinner at 6 sharp. And this is important because we have 5 kids, and it's important that we all sit down at the dinner table together at 6 o'clock and spend some time together, because we haven't seen each other all day usually, and it's time to start some quality time without the cell phones, without the TV on. You can't be watching dinner with your TV on. And
Having dinner with TV, yeah.
actually talking to each other and spending time to, see what everyone did during the day and how everyone's doing. And it seems silly, but it's so important, and it is easy to do, but you have to want to do it, and the kids have to want to do it.
Yes,
love
I'm
that.
very lucky. I love my husband dearly. He's a wonderful father, provider,
She has 5 kids.
husband. Yes, 5 kids.
Yeah.
So we stay busy and we do our best. I mean, we really try and foster, and I know your mom was big on this too when she was raising you guys, to just have a positive, healthy, happy household.
Yeah, and we had the same ritual with dinner. Like we would all sit down for dinner at a certain time, and you really build your relationships in your family by doing that.
Mhm.
It's such a good point. And I bet a lot of people these days don't have a dinner table that they fill up every night. So I think that's an important thing to get
Yeah,
back to.
we try. My husband's really big on it. He was an only child. He wanted like
Aw.
a big, happy family. So we got it.
Oh, I love
So-
that. Oh, all
so-
sons, or all boys?
All boys. Yeah.
Wow.
All boys, yeah.
Okay, what are the viewers saying? We're about to close out this show. The hour has already flown by. Ben says, I eat TV and watch dinner.
Whatever works for you, right?
Excellent family time, yes. Do they fight fair is a big question. Oh, how do you and your husband fight? Oh, now
Oh,
we're
you know
keeping it
what?
real.
I think I seriously think that's an important thing to think about in a relationship. Here's why. Because if you go like all in like a crazy person and you're like name calling and kicking and screaming and like a maniac, like tomorrow you're still living with that person, right? I mean, in theory, unless you're like running out the back door. But you have to learn to fight in a manner that in the next hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, that you're still going to be like talking. So you have to do it in a civil way. I know it sounds crazy, and like there's the heat of the moment and you're mad and he's mad or she's mad or whoever's mad. But I think you have to do it in a way that's not so hateful
Yeah,
that it breaks down the relationship. Because you're going to have disagreements and arguments, right?
yeah. How long have you guys been married?
15. We just had our 15th wedding anniversary,
Wow.
but we've been together 17.
So do you guys fight more or less than when you first got married?
Probably less.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've never been big fighters.
There's hope for all of us.
Yeah. But yeah, less. Because he knows, like he called me earlier today and I'm like, hello. And he's like, oh, okay, you're stressed out because you're trying to get ready and get out the door. Okay, well, I'm going to call you.
Oh,
later."
you can
I'm
tell
like,
your
okay.
tone right away. What's his sign? What's his sign?
Okay, he's not like a super stressed person. So he's more laid back.
Oh, but
than
his
I am.
astrology.
Oh, I don't know. He's
Oh.
August 31st.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's a Virgo. You're an,
Okay.
you're an Aquarius.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that.
Did I tell you I was an Aquarius?
You told me that, yeah.
Okay.
When we first got lunch. Jumping jacks or jump rope in front of the TV if you have to.
Okay.
Oh, is
For
that how
exercise?
you for exercise? Yeah, there you go. Oh, you're asking a question? So I jumping jacks and jump rope are very similar to me. I don't have a jump rope, so it would have to be jumping jacks.
Me too. I don't have a jump rope either. I've had them before, just don't have one today.
Oh, yay, you subbed to Lauren. Guys, go subscribe to Lauren. She's brand new on YouTube. Her link is in my description to her YouTube. Her Instagram link is also in my description. That is where those videos with her husband are. So definitely check all that out. Get some positivity and health and beauty advice in your life.
Yeah, my kids make fun of me because they're like, you only have like 350 subscribers?
She's brand spanking new.
I'm like, it's new. I know, my dad got on them. He's like, she just started. What do you expect? But so they started a YouTube channel. My kids have a YouTube channel now with all their sports and stuff. And I'm like, you have like 11 followers.
You're winning. You're winning. There you go. But your Instagram's growing pretty well.
Yeah.
She had to start a brand new Instagram because her TV station seized ownership of her old one. Can you believe that?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of stations do that. So
Fox tried to with me while I was with them before any drama started. They were acting preventatively and they said, we want to own your Instagram and your Facebook and your Twitter. And I was like, no, I started those accounts before I met you and they're mine. So you don't own my accounts. If you have a problem with me, you break up with me and my social media. And so literally I duked it out with it, like, because my social media boss, she was getting calls from New York, like, what's up with do we own Ivory's Instagram yet?
Wow.
And so she was like, she'd call me, but she totally agreed with me. She called me in her office, like, yeah, I'm supposed to ask you for your Instagram. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll get back to you. And I just kind of pushed it off and everyone just forgot about it eventually. And so I maintained ownership of my socials. But what they wanted to do was come in and be like a completely an owning administrator, like literally have the ability. They wanted the actual ability to delete my account.
Well,
like
they let me keep my personal Facebook page, but it's like somehow still linked. So I started a complete fresh account.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Them.
No, I don't know how or why. Like we tried, and they helped. They tried to help me unlink them, and we couldn't get it done. And Facebook actually helped too. Like we had like a representative that was helping. Couldn't get it done. So I just went ahead and started a completely separate. Just thought that was a little risky. Like if they decided to in 2 years take it down or whatever.
Right.
So and then when we started Instagram, the station wanted us to start Instagram. And so all of our handles had to have the station information in it. So then
hate that.
There was no way. It always had that
Freeman KPRC.
Yeah. So there was no point in keeping that one.
Right.
So I just like, that one's like floating around. I don't even know what's going on with it. So
I'm just like, I look back, I'm like, so glad I stood my ground on that. And then as soon as, because they did it to everyone, it wasn't just me, everyone within Fox Corp wanted ownership, the ability to delete all of our accounts. Like you don't realize how much you're owned as a TV person. This is what you guys wonder why every TV person says the same thing, maybe because they're completely controlled and completely living in fear. And because the company has the ability to rip everything out from under them. But I remember shortly after I stood my ground on my social media ownership, I was up by the assignment desk in the newsroom, and the assignment desk staffers were laughing because they were reading the messages of one of our male on-air talents. And like some dudes were like hitting on them, like gay dudes were hitting on them. And they were literally just reading through the messages because the TV station owned this guy's account now.
So they were reading his personal
private Facebook message, which when you have a public profile, you're a public figure with a public profile, a lot of the messages are just random, like fans and viewers, you know. And so it's not like this is where I correspond with my family, which actually I do. I get my viewers and my family and everything in my DMs. But it was just like, okay, I'm in this newsroom professional setting and they're laughing about this guy's private messages from like random gay viewers who have a crush on him. And it was just like, I'm so freaking glad I didn't hand over my account because apparently a lot of people have access to that account now. Like we thought it was just Fox Corp. Yeah. Fox Corp told us, just in case you go rogue, we can delete your page. And now we got a whole slew of staff members like laughing at the DMs. And
Well,
then-
yeah, because I guess technically, if you're an administrator on an account, you can read the messages, right?
yeah.
Or if you have the administrator's account open on a desktop or something like that. Yeah.
yeah. So the assignment desk became the administrator. Who knew?
Mhm.
Anyway, so whatever job you work in, I think when it doesn't feel right, stand your ground, follow your instincts. That's what I did, and it worked out.
You did. Yeah.
With that being said, everyone, have a fantastic weekend. I'm so glad Lauren Freeman Roth could join my YouTube. Follow her links down in the description. Thanks for joining Truth Bombs, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers. Good to see you all.
Cheers.